Welcome, one and all. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, those that are neither and those that are in between. I am the Lowlife Cat, otherwise known as the Sarcasm Detector, and I'm a cat, a VTuber, and a variety streamer. Today I'm just going to be going real quick over this build that I have here for the Janeway class. You guys saw the action clip at the start of the video, and I'm going to break it down for you very quick. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I will show you the build and how I set it up. And I will also include a link in the description to where you can see the written down version of the ship. She is beautiful, and ironically, she can tank quite well elite content. I made this tank specifically for the TFO called To Hell with Honor, but she does fairly well in all the elite queues, even the Borg ones like ISE. You guys just saw that a couple of minutes ago. So let's dive in. And we'll take a look at the gear first. Now this is definitely an off-meta tank. It's not a meta tank, primarily because, well, it's a science vessel. How many science vessel tanks do you know of? Probably not that many, but this is one of them. I would give you guys a warning and say that some of the equipment and traits and bridge officers, or duty officers to be specific in this, can be a bit expensive, but I would like you to see how this is set up. Now, starting off with the weapon configuration is fairly standard for a meta tank. We have the wide angle here from the disco set. We have a couple of agony phasers. We have the dark matter torpedo, and on the back we do have the trilithium omni. We also have a three-piece disco set here, so the non-baryonic, the mycelial harmonic, and the Tilly shield. We do have the impulse engine, which is the prevailing, and we just have a regular deteriorating secondary deflector. Now, devices, you can put whatever you want. For the specific consoles, we have the Lorca custom in here. Now here's where it gets a little strange for you guys. Bear with me here. So we have overload SIF linkage. We do have reinforced armaments for the two-piece with the trilithium phaser. We also have ion storm, hull image, enhanced induction coil, approaching agony, and the opening salvo. For the tactical consoles, we do have the Valkyrie torment engine, plus 3 of these energetic protomatter matrix infusers. Now this does a little bit more debuff. We are using the opening salvo for that shutdown ability that it has. It will shut down Borg cubes for a few seconds. Also, approaching agony for the debuff, plus of course the passive, which is extra phaser damage and crit chance. The enhanced induction coil we're using for power. We are actually using this on the spam bar, and we are using, well, I'll show you in a second the trace that we're using, but it does help out with the power settings quite a bit. Also, hull image refractor, we're just using this for the passive. We actually never activate this as a tank. Ion storm and the overload SIF linkage are pretty standard for tanks. And again, I have stated that the reinforced armaments is there for the two-piece with the trilithium phaser, omni phaser. Just giving you guys a quick look at my skill tree here. It's not my regular skill tree, but this one works fairly well. It's actually not that great for tanking, but it does its job. I'll just leave this up here. You guys can pause it and copy it or whatever you want to do. The specializations is secondary strategist, primary miracle worker. Now, traits, here is where it gets interesting. So we're running a good day to die, fragment of tech AI. So this gives us extra energy weapon damage and control expertise. Here we have the inspirational leader, pretty standard. Intelligence agent attache, context is for kings. So if we're not taking damage, it'll give us a bit extra all damage, but we are taking damage since we are a tank. It'll give us all damage resistance. Then we have over here adaptive offense, just for a little bit extra crit chance. and an imposing presence, unconventional systems, and repair crews. Now, I do think that this might be slightly over-tanked, but it's better to be cautious. I mean, there could be some polishing done on the build to increase its DPS and not lose survivability. In any event, going on to the Starship traits, automated shield alignments gives us bonus all damage when our shields are down, and it scales with the amount of shields. We do have entwined tactical matrices. This is pretty meta for this setup. We are running Photonic Officer 1, which we'll get to when we get to the Bridge Officer. So again, we'll use improved Photonic Officer to improve that cooldown. Emergency Weapon Cycle, again, very meta, it's very standard. Then we have History Will Remember. And then here finally we have Attack Pattern Delta Prime. Now we will get into that a little bit further on once we get into the Bridge Officer layout. Now for the space traits, Energy Refrequencer, so healing when we shoot stuff, which is always nice. We have the pretty much standard, well, this is not actually standard, Advanced Hull Reinforcement. I use this because, well, it is not a cruiser. It doesn't have the same amount of resistance as that a cruiser would have, or any cruiser type would have. So a little bit extra damage resistance really helps out. Then we have Precision and Auxiliary Power Configuration Defense for extra damage resistance and increase of maximum hit points. This scales with the aux power, which we will look at in a second. And then Tyler's Duality. Quick look at stations here. Our two tactical officers are running a pretty standard configuration for a tank. We got the beam fire at will 3 and then a torpedo spread 1. These guys will alternate with entwined tactical matrices. So whenever you hit fire at will 3, it'll lock out this torp spread 1, but it'll give you an automatic torp spread. When you hit torp spread 1, it'll basically fire off another fire at will. Attack patterns are Delta and Beta. They are alternating. I see a lot of tank builds that just run attack pattern Delta. The issue with this is that if you're running it as a single, then its minimum cooldown is 30 seconds. However, its duration is 15 seconds, so you only have 50% uptime. Running it with Beta, when this goes off, this goes on a 15-second cooldown. So by the time the duration of Delta is up after 15 seconds, you can fire off the Beta and you have 100% uptime of your attack patterns. Now, I only have the one engineering ability, which is Emergency Power to Weapons, which is there to trigger the emergency weapon cycle. And for, here we come to it, the science abilities. Grapple 1, very basic, you need to control the spheres on the side. You have a DRB, Destabilizing Resonance Beam 1, and then a Tractor Beam. On the Commander, here it gets strange. We'll go from the bottom. Polarized Hull, Photonic Officer 1 for our cooldowns, and then we have Overwhelm Emitters 3. This is very, very nice, and I will open this up for you guys. So I hope you can see this. What this does, it's got a 45-second cooldown, but with the improved Photonic Officer, it goes down to 30 seconds. 10-kilometer range, 180-degree targeting arc. All energy damage, anywhere from any source, not just you, your allies as well. Anyone who is shooting beams or cannons at this thing will benefit from this. To the marked foe, triggers to whoever is shooting 40% of the damage as a shield regen. To the enemy, 40% of the damage as shield drain. This is extra shield drain on top of the damage that you're already doing to the shield. And it can only trigger once per half second. And of course, since I do have a little bit of skills put into Drain Axe, I get the electrical damage. Now that is nice. That actually helps out. In fact, for most runs, most non-Borg runs, I do not lose any shields. It pretty much shield tank my way through most non-Borg TFOs. For Borg TFOs, it's kind of funny because I do actually keep some of the shields up, and my allies, if they're using energy weapons, will also keep their shields up. It's kind of amusing going through a Borg run with shields still up as a tank. Now, if you pay close attention to the video I posted at the beginning, at the end, when the last attack cube dies, I had full shields. It's kind of hard to spot, but my shields were fully up against that attack cube. It's kind of amusing. Now here is the really nice one. Suppression Barrage 3. Flat out, when you shoot something, it cuts its damage output by half. Just gone. Half its damage is done. On top of that, it slows it down significantly and also takes a hit to accuracy. So it's going to be missing you significantly more, all the targets. You're using fire at will, so it's hitting multiple things. They're all going to start missing you. And when they do hit you, they're not going to hit as hard. It's actually kind of fun. Now, the roster here, real quick, we'll go right through it here. Dicroc, energy weapon officer, firing your energy weapons will give you extra shield power. Agent Nerul, while attack pattern beta is active, you get a minor heal. And then 3 Adak Ukons for the extra threat gen. That's 300% threat gen when you're using attack pattern delta. And I have a warp core engineer that gives me extra power. And just a quick one here, that last run we did that you saw at the beginning, this ship did about 207k DPS. No one died, no one took any significant amount of damage except to shields, which is understandable given that this ship actually debuffs the enemy, so if you're shooting it with an energy weapon, your shields are going to regenerate pretty fast, and if you're fighting Borg, you're going to take more damage to shields on top. But she's pretty good. Like I said, I made this ship to help with Honor Elite, and it does very, very well in that. And it also does fairly well in other TFOs at Elite difficulty, even stuff like Hive and Corfez. In any event, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy taking a look at this very strange off-meta Sci-Tank. This is the Lowlife Cat, or the Sarcasm Detector, saying goodnight.